Hello all and welcome back to the Football Manager Streamer Showdown YouTube channel and another Diz interviews, and this time who have we got? We have got the man who showed us that if at first you don't succeed, you dust yourself off and you try again and again and again. It is the person who won it in his 4th final and his 13th attempt. It is Season 5 champion, Jack, aka WorkTheSpace. Jack, how are you, buddy?
I'm relieved, mate, more than anything. Like, I mean, behind the curtain here, me and Diz organised a winner's interview last showdown for me before the tournament even took place, and then I lost in the final. So I didn't have any correspondence with Diz before this weekend, and it turns out that was all I needed to like give me the good luck.
Well, yeah, because I was really excited. And can I just say, up until the 90th minute or the 91st minute of that game with Clates, of that final with Clates, our 12 o'clock meeting on Monday morning to do the winners interview was all set. It was all good to go. And then Joe Linton let you down. Did that kind of, I don't know, motivate you a little bit more this time?
I mean, obviously the showdown had a month off, so it's basically an extra month to stew and sulk. No one picked Joe Linton, and he was available in this draft pool, so I think everyone learned a valuable lesson last time. No, it did. It's weird, right? It kind of gets to the point where it's like, if I lose 4 finals in a row, this is going to be ridiculous now, especially like going into the 4th final this time around. I don't know what I would have done. Maybe I would have just asked not to ever make it to a final again. Like, it's just not worth it.
Well, Football Manager 2022 is yours, isn't it? Like, you are the most consistent, I believe. A league title, 2 finals, 1 victory. Let's be honest, you were a minute away from having 2 titles. You know, FM22 is really...
Doesn't count for anything, Diz. I've learned that. That's what I've been told. Doesn't matter that Joe Linton threw it for me and I lost on a penalty shootout.
No, but look, I'm an optimist. So to me, you are the 1-time, nearly 2-time champion.
Nearly 4-time. No, I'm very happy that I've managed to win one, because I didn't really want to take the record off Ben for the most appearances in finals without winning. If it had been 4 in a row that I lost, that would have been quite something.
Well, that is something to do with you and Ben, because you and Ben have been kind of intertwined. 3 finals each, 3 losing finalists each, both on the record 1 point. Your 2 destiny seems to be intertwined, and lo and behold, here you are now breaking that cycle and becoming a 1-time Streamer Showdown champion. That must be nice to leave Ben as well, one of your good friends, but somebody who you like to manage.
It does. There's been certain individuals who may have won showdowns in recent months who have won their first one and like to remind me that I haven't won any. So it's quite nice to no longer have that as something that people can throw at me as kind of a thing.
And we will talk about that individual, because you beat that individual.
I did. It was good.
So let's go all the way back to your draft. Were you happy with your draft before the twist?
Yeah, I was. The twist obviously changed things quite a lot, but going into the draft, I felt like I did a lot of prep. I was really, really happy with my team after the draft. Even before the twist, I kind of said to my chat, I've got the same feeling about this team that I had with my Season 1 team before we swapped the teams. In terms of, I felt I've got everything that I wanted. Maybe I lacked a physical striker, but because of the leagues that got removed, that didn't really exist, like in a price range I was comfortable paying, because I wanted to spread my budget across all the players. But as you can imagine, having drafted a team, being really happy with it once before, and then a twist happening. When I heard there was a twist happening again, my heart did sink, kind of, as I tuned into the Lowdown on the Wednesday.
Well, your drafting has been really well. Obviously, you drafted the Season 1 team that ended up winning the Streamer Showdown. You drafted a team that got to a final in Season 4. You're now drafting a winning team. Drafting has, become a real strength of yours, hasn't it?
It has. It's weird, actually, because I think one thing that I feel like I'm quite good at when it comes to drafting is kind of thinking on the fly and kind of having those quick plan Bs. I think, actually, this was one of the hardest drafts ever because of the way the budget was decided by Twitch chat, minutes before the draft. Like, we didn't know the price options, the competitors. So I think it was 300, 500, and 700 million were the options people had to vote on. We didn't actually know any of that beforehand. So it's kind of like a budget option in a, say, £100 million team is something you've got to prepare for. But equally, like, if the budget was on the other side of things, say we'd been given an unlimited budget, that obviously drastically changes what kind of a budget option is, quote unquote.
And then after all of that, you say, please get me Haaland.
Who we get in chat? Low number. Oh, that's okay. Who is it, Matt?
Player number
Matt,
6.
who is it? Please be someone good.
Player number 6.
Yes! Come on!
And the FM gods deserted Zealand, came to you, and they gave you Haaland. When you got Haaland, what did you think? Did you think, yeah, this is my time?
Is it bad that I thought I have to win this now? I just thought at that point I'd been so happy with my team beforehand. Obviously, I knew there was going to be other players on the board, right? And we didn't exactly know at that point just how good they were, although Mbappe had come out. But I did kind of look at it and just think, I was so happy with my team beforehand. Like, as you said, I wanted Haaland. I knew that physical striker was the one thing I was missing. So as soon as I got given it, I'm sat thinking, I'm backing myself at that point. And I'm starting to think, if I don't do it this time, it's just never going to happen.
And then you start Streamer Showdown Saturday, my favourite Saturday of the calendar month in the Football Manager community. And your first game is against DoctorBenjy. And
oh, that was a good game, weren't it? That was a good one. I enjoyed that game.
I'd hate to be Ben because you beat him 8-2. I mean, at that point, you must be thinking, yeah, this is nice, isn't it?
I mean, there's always that worry, right, when you go into a showdown. Obviously, you've been in a showdown, so you know this feeling when you kind of look at your schedule and you're like, I really need to get some points early on. Like, you need that little bit of momentum because I think if you lose the first couple, it is then like a mountain to climb to turn it around. So when I saw my first games were Ben and Z, my heart did sink a little bit because as much as we kind of meme on Ben for not doing well and obviously Z, what we talk all about is pausing. Like, they are actually reasonably good at Football Manager. And I've been in situations before where I have a talismanic player like Haaland and I've just not been able to get them firing. So it was just kind of a relief when, yeah, as you said, we scored 8 goals in the first game and Haaland got, I think, 4 of them. But even to get 4 goals from just other players, like, it just gave me a lot of kind of optimism, I suppose, going into that kind of the rest of the weekend.
So was that the point you figured out, right, okay, this is fine, I'm going to qualify quite easily, or were you still worried? At what point were you settled with your team, basically, and you thought, yeah, I got a chance here?
I think after the first 30 minutes against Ben, if I'm being honest, like, we were 4-0 up. He actually got 2 goals in about the first 10 minutes of the second half. And at 4-2, Ben starts to do the Ben things where he's kind of whispering words in your ear, trying to make you doubt yourself. And I went into the weekend knowing I had 3 different systems I wanted to play. And I kind of had faith in them all. I was really determined this Saturday to use it to learn the team. And in that game against Ben, I went in with the system that I think everyone expected me to play because it was the one I'd played the last showdown. And at 4-2, I'm thinking, well, I can stick with what I'm doing and it's kind of working, or I can use this as a chance whilst I've got a bit of a buffer to try some other systems. So I went to kind of a narrower 4-1-3-2 that I could play with the team that I drafted. And I knew that was going to be a system that was going to be important. It ended up being really important on the Sunday. But actually, the Saturday, I used so many different systems, but it really gave me a good opportunity to figure out what worked when, rather than go into the Sunday like I have before, and I'm trying out tactics I've not used with the team at all over the weekend, having no idea if they're going to work or not.
So apart from Haaland, who was clearly your top player, who else in your team on that Saturday really stood out for you?
I mean, I wish I could say Callum Wilson, because that was my first pick. The Callum Wilson thing, I'd just like to talk about a little bit, was really weird because of the Haaland situation. Yeah. Going into the weekend, I knew that I wanted to play 3 or 4 different systems, and I had those shapes in my head, and the team that I drafted could basically play all of those systems. The issue with Haaland and the issue with Callum Wilson is they can only play striker. They can't play any other positions in the game. So if you start them both, you're locked into a 2-striker system. And I didn't want to be in a situation where after 30 minutes, I want to go to a 1-striker system. And so my only option is either to play one of them massively out of position or use a sub in the first half. So that was why Wilson didn't play a lot. I genuinely think Wilson would have done quite well otherwise. Rashford played really well, to be honest. Like, Rashford in Football Manager can only play on the left side or as a striker. Like, he's really uncomfortable on the right. But I just played him at right winger because he's fast and he can cross the ball and he can finish it when chances come his way. I think he got 6 assists on the Saturday. Obviously, a fair few of them were to Haaland, but also just to kind of players running from inside of him. And it kind of limits Rashford's tendency to just shoot all the time when you stick him out on the wing.
Well, he was the #1 assister for that Streamer Showdown Saturday. So, yeah, Rashford, a heck of a performance. You were close to having to do some tie-break games, weren't you? Because you, Clates, Lollujo, all on 17 points. With 1 or 2 games to go, you were all kind of concerned that we were going to be playing until 1 a.m.
Could be a late night potentially. Yeah,
poor
the head-to-head thing was weird.
Poor Kev, obviously, dealing with COVID and working so hard to kind of stay awake. But yeah, at one point there was that concern, wasn't there, that you were all going to be drawing lights. But finishing 17 points, joint top with Clates, Lollujo first and second, that must have been quite. Were you happy with that? Sorry.
I was happy with that. I think missing out on the golden wipe stung a little bit because I do think that can make a really big difference. And there was certainly points on the Sunday where I ran out of my wipes. I think after the first leg of the semi-final, I used my last wipe, and not having that kind of golden wipe. I'm thinking, if I don't get this now, it's all because I maybe experimented too much on the Saturday. But as you said, 17 points is a really high total in a showdown. Like that would win you the league stage a lot of weekends. Like to only lose one game and for it to be the last one against Clates. I mean, the big relief is that Kev didn't win the league, as far as I'm concerned, because it's the one thing that kind of we talk about, the fact he says it's not a Saturday game and he doesn't care about Saturday. If he'd won it, I feel like he would have been unbearable.
He was funny on Twitter afterwards. He goes, I needed something stupid and won on Saturday, but I'm glad Clates put an end to that. That made me laugh, to be fair. But obviously, you and Lollujo, you drew lots basically to finish second or third. That put you third, and then it put you in a quarterfinal against DoctorBenjy. How confident were you going into that quarterfinal?
I wish I could sit here and say I was really, really confident, but I just wasn't. And the reason I wasn't is because Ben had a really strong end to the league stage. Like he'd lost 1 of his last 5, I think, and won 3 of his last 4. Obviously Ben got beaten by me, beaten by Holly, and then Kev beat him, and then he changed some stuff and it worked for him. And I mean, I've been in the situation where I've topped a group and then I've just gone out to the person who went through the elimination playoff. So I know you can't really afford to underestimate anyone. And in a weird way, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking about the 8-2 result, thinking it peaked too early. That was first game. That was a long time ago in the context of a showdown, kind of those 8 game weeks ago. I wish I could say I was really confident. Ordinarily, I would have been really confident, but just because I've been burnt in the past in similar scenarios, that I just, had to approach it with, basically a level head, I suppose.
And then the first leg, you lose 3-1. Now, we looked at the statistics of the game, or the stats of the game. And ultimately, you weren't overly concerned because Ben scores with a penalty, Ben scores with a corner. You had played really well. Was it something that worried you going to the second leg, or were you kind of galvanised that ultimately 3-1 isn't a bad result?
At 3-1, Ben was trying to get in my head after the game. He was like, you've been tactically outfought there, having scored a corner and a penalty. And I muted him and I just turned to my chat and went, I'm going to win the second leg 5-0. I called the result that was going to happen. I don't know if I should tell you something, Ben, that I said before this leg.
What?
I told my chat I'd win 5-0.
I'm sure your people in your chat will be saying I sound disappointed. That's because I am disappointed. It's a shame. I feel like we've deserved a little bit more than this.
What formation are you playing now?
I've got 1 centre back.
Okay, that makes more sense.
I need goals. So.
And then obviously, lo and behold, the second leg is a 5-0 win. I mean, the home away advantage is a really big thing in Football Manager, which really played on my mind actually in the semi-final. But in this game here, I didn't really rate Ben's defence. Costa had, I think, close to the most man of the matches, I think, in the whole tournament by the end. His goalkeeper. Defensively, he was having issues. And, I mean, it was kind of weird, actually. Haaland didn't have a massive role to play in that game in terms of kind of goal scoring until, right at the end in the 5-0. But, yeah, unlucky in the first leg. Going into the second leg at home, I was cautiously optimistic, but there were a few players missing for that game. Kondogbia was suspended, Diego Carlos was suspended, but I knew that I couldn't really afford to wipe them just because you need them for the later stages. I feel like the suspensions really start to add up in a showdown because once a player's got an accumulation of yellow cards, they're kind of 1 or 2 yellows away from then getting banned again and again and again. So I knew if I was going to have a deep run, I was going to have to deal with suspensions. I mean, at the end of the day, when you've got Haaland, you've always got a pretty good chance. But everyone chipped in that game, that 5-0 win. I think we kind of showed what we were capable of on the Saturday. Beating Ben 8-2, but beating Holly 6-2, Stinger 6-0. It was just a case of if we could have one of those kind of performances in the second leg.
And you did. And how great was it? Obviously, Ben saying he's tactically outthought you. How great was it just to, give him a little something back? A little receipts.
I was very calm and kind, actually, to him, really. I did feel bad for him because I feel like, obviously, he didn't get the best of luck with the wild card, but you can only really deal with the hand that you're dealt. Of course, it's not the first time that Ben's been in that situation, winning in the quarterfinals and then bottled it in the second leg. I mean, he did it against Kev not that long ago. So yeah, I tried to be gentle with him when it came to the post-game smack talk.
And you know what, can I just say, it was amazing to see, like, just such a gracious winner in that quarterfinal. But then we go into the semi-final and it's Lollujo, Kevvy 7 times. How did you feel facing him? And
I was so excited. I've never played Kev on a Sunday before this.
Yeah, it's the first time, right?
It's kind of crazy when you think about it. I know Kev says you have to turn up on a Sunday. I have made it to 4 finals. It's not like there's, I never win on a Sunday. It's just weird, like the way the seedings have worked, that we've never met on a Sunday. I was really, really excited for the game until I saw that 3 of my starting back 4 were suspended for the first leg. And then my heart sank.
And then did that obviously play a role into it because Kevvy won the first game convincingly? Oh, sorry, let me rephrase that. He went ahead in the first game. I think he was winning 3-0, wasn't he?
3-0 after half an hour.
Yeah.
I'm sat thinking, well, that it's been a good run, everyone. At home as well. I'm sat thinking, should I have just wiped the centre backs? Like, I only had 1 wipe left at that point, I believe. So, like, no matter what, I was going to be a bit depleted. I mean, I think Aurea had one of my best performances in that game, taking Luca Dean's role in the team. But yeah, it was. I think it was Kepa's worst game. I mean, all 7 goals came in the first half. It was kind of weird. I think Kev went 3-0 up. I changed some stuff. And in the second half, Kev was almost happy just to play out to, get the win away from home, just even by 1 goal.
And then you mute him as well. And he's there shouting with his bells, "Unmute me, coward."
I didn't know about this, but that sounds like the Kevin Chapman I know. Yeah, he definitely did that.
So then you beat him, and that's an amazing achievement in itself. Obviously, he's gonna, he's saying that he wanted to rest, he didn't want to win it, etc., etc. We all know that
he
you did
wants
something.
to win.
Yeah. We know you did something special there.
I did. I mean, look, the 3-1 away win, like, obviously the last goal was a penalty, but I think I deserved it on the balance of play. Like, we created really, really good, clear-cut opportunities throughout the game. Yeah, I mean, Kev is really, really good at Football Manager. As much as we all clown on him, like, Kev does actually know what he's doing most of the time. I would have liked to have done it a bit more convincingly, but it was kind of the story of the Sunday, really, like a slow first leg and then the second leg just, kind of taking it up a notch, I suppose.
You briefly mentioned her earlier on. You meet HollyyPlayys. Holly, obviously, and you are very close, very good friends in the Football Manager community. She's obviously won a Streamer Showdown. She hasn't let you forget about that, but you're playing probably the perfect person in the final. Tell me your emotions going into that game.
Oh, it was a bye, weren't it? So it was just done. Like, she had a force field in goal, and it was a case of the unstoppable object meets the immovable force. I've done that the wrong way around, haven't I? Yeah. But you know what I mean, everyone. Now, Holly obviously had a crazy run, and to be honest, the thing that was playing on my mind was there is only one person in the history of the Showdown who has won the elimination game and gone on to win the whole thing, and that was Tom FM, and he beat me in the final that time. So I felt like the script writers were doing a repeat 2 years later, same storyline, hoping the viewers wouldn't catch on to it. I felt like I had a really good chance against Holly because I knew that Holly didn't really like her draft, and I think she'd struggled and been in the elimination game. But at the same time, she'd taken out Clates for me. Like, I was terrified of Clates. I was convinced it was Clates I was going to play in the final. So, like, with that in mind, like, different teams just turn up really differently on a Sunday. I feel like, you can have a really bad Saturday and then turn up on the Sunday. So even though I'd beaten her 6-2 in the league, just couldn't really afford to underestimate her going into it.
And I think it should be highlighted, Holly, after finishing 8th, did an amazing job to beat Tom, to beat Clates, to beat Sting, and get through to the final against you. And then it wasn't, you joked there saying it was a bye. It was very close. You end up winning 5-4 on aggregate.
I was 3-0 up after 65 minutes in the first leg away from home, and it finished 3-3. I was sat thinking, how are people going to make a pun out of, like, you know, Istanbul with this? Like, how are they going to do it? You know, like the Christanbul when Liverpool bottled it against Palace. Like, how are they going to do it for this if I go on to lose it all? It was weird, actually. Like, I think I said it 3-0 up. I'm like, you've got Lewandowski, like 3 half chances and you're back in this game. And actually, Holly ended the game really, really strongly. Like, my players just got complacent at the end, and like Holly just, I guess she changed some stuff tactically, like creativity wise. She really turned the game around. I was perhaps lucky to even win it, to just come away with the draw really after the first leg. It was Haaland's worst game as well. Haaland got 6.9 in that game, and I think I actually subbed him off for Callum Wilson. So that's how that game went.
And then the return leg, obviously 2-1. I could see you were pleading for that final whistle, pleading for it. You literally wanted it just to blow, just to get it over and done with, to finally win one. How did it feel to win one? And then also the fact that you beat Holly to win it.
I'll be honest, I didn't really believe it even after the full-time whistle went, just because I've been in that situation before. Look, I don't think anyone's ever got closer to winning a showdown in the final than me the previous season, and that was weighing on me so heavily. I was really having to sit on my hands to stop myself making unnecessary changes, like, because we dominated the second leg. Like, the second leg was just such a good performance. Like, Holly had one really good chance and she took it. Besides that, there was nothing. It felt amazing. It felt amazing. There was a massive sense of relief. I almost couldn't really enjoy it. People ask, you know, like, what are you going to do when you win a showdown? Like, how are you going to feel? And I'd always told them I didn't really know, like, how I'd feel. And last showdown, as I was beating Clates with 5 minutes left, I let myself imagine what it would be like, Diz. I had it all painted in my head. I'm thinking, this is exactly what's going to happen. This is what I'll do. And then I bottled it in the most ridiculous fashion. So going into this one, that was not even going into my head, to the point where it kind of got to full time. I go, guess I've won. I guess I'll do some cheering. Like, I'm not going to run around too crazily because I feel like it's almost overdue. Please, just end the game, Holly. Holly, stop doing stuff. Yes!
GG!
Come on! Let's go, chat! Thank you. Oh, I'm so glad it was against you, Holly. GG's. It was more relief than jubilation, I think, is the honest answer to how I felt. Like, it was just like, okay, that's a monkey off my back now. I can win in a final, it turns out.
And your poor fan?
Yeah, I did a trophy lift with my fan. I've had to buy a new fan off Amazon, which is a shame for the old fan. It means I've got a tiny little USB. I'll show it to the. I've got a tiny little USB fan to keep me cool at the moment. Not quite the old office fan, but yeah, I had to do a trophy lift. It is tradition. I shook the fan a little too vigorously, and the top bit has snapped off the base. So
today it was stick with that formation. Go with
I don't want to break the fan. Come on! I think I've broken the fan.
I really don't know what I'm doing.
Well,
I've broken the fan. I've broken. Chat, I might need you guys to sub more for a new fan. Oh, bloody hell. Yeah, that was great until I realised it's going to be 20 degrees today, and this USB fan really isn't doing the job under all the lights at the moment.
Jack, it's always entertaining to speak to you. Can I just ask you, you know, we talk quite regularly about a Clates era, a Kevvy era. We've recently talked about a Zealand era. He got through to 2 finals. He's won 1. You, obviously, in Football Manager 2022, you've won a league. You've got through to 2 finals. You've now
record-breaking league.
Record-breaking league. Do you feel like
second in the league twice as well?
Okay, so record-breaking league, second in the league twice. You finished 3rd in this one, right? Unless you're counting this one. But ultimately, do you feel like this is, you know, FM22 is your time, so you could probably win a couple more?
I would like to think so. Like, the era thing gets thrown around a lot, and like to win back-to-back is really, really tough. And like to have that kind of, you know, consistent like level at the very, very top is so much harder now than I think it was in the past. Because I do feel like the level is really like elevated in terms of how people understand PvP Football Manager, because it is so high. Yeah. Oh, my camera's just overheated because I've not got the fan.
Oh, no.
Well, they can still hear me, but there is just now the broadcasting error. So what do you want to do? We can just keep going if you want.
To be fair, we were probably going to wrap it up there anyway. So, viewers, I hope you really enjoyed this. Speaking to Jack, speaking to the Season 5 Football Manager 2022 Streamer Showdown champion. I hope you've enjoyed. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to Run of to 5000 on the Streamer Showdown channel on YouTube. And yeah, we'll see you on the next one. From our champion, from me, Mr. DizTV, take care. Bye-bye.